righty, I should share. Okay, that should be working, I believe. Let's make sure we're over here. All right, folks, so this is news you can use for August 26th, 2020. We've got a few things here to talk about. Let's see how it all goes out today. Talking about taking your load on the road. I had wanted to play some Willie Nelson, but I was instructed that we may get kicked off of Facebook if we do, so we will not be playing any music on this one. But we're talking about taking your load on the road, and what does that mean? Well, man, some of you have some fine-looking vehicles like a Sprinter van to haul your gear, or maybe even the fine Nissan NV200, which is a Mike Tao special. But if you're like most of us, you know, you're going to have a small SUV or maybe like a Prius, and you've got to put a bunch of gear into that thing, and it can be tricky. Now, granted, several years ago, I was able to put a bunch of this stuff into the trunk of my 2002 Prius, so it can be done, but I wasn't tugging along a lot of lights, especially and grip gear, which is really the challenge when you're dealing with these bad boys, the 48 by 48 inch flags, silks, and nets. Because honestly, folks, they just don't fit. You know, I measured my RAV in my Prius, and you can take a look at 44 inches there on the RAV and a 41 inches. You just can't get them in there. And it can be frustrating because a lot of folks like to use the larger boards for all kinds of things. So what do you do? What happens? Well, Matthews understood this, and so that you can't put these things in here. And so they have came out in May with a set of 40-inch flags, floppies, and silks that are designed to fit into these smaller vehicles, these SUVs. So you can get the sets of these, the floppies, the floppy bounces, you can get the silks, solids, whatever you need, and they will fit at 40 inches into most vehicles. They run roughly in 150 for a flag-ish or a silk, depending on what you're getting. This is at B&H, and $900 for a set, which is the flag, the floppy, a floppy type bounce, and then a silk and a bag. So it's a pretty good deal if you need to get a bigger source into your car, but can't carry the 48s. These are a pretty good idea to work with. I think you will be eminently satisfied if you get them. And speaking of satisfaction, I just can't get no satisfaction. What the heck does that talk about? Well, we're talking about AB5. And where are we now? I know James had posted a wonderful, wonderful response to the AB5. You're very, very colorful, James. Well done today. I saw that. And so let me just give you a little synopsis of what's going on with AB5, the fine folks up there in Sacramento. AB5, for those of you who probably are wondering what it is, if you don't know what it is, it was a law that passed in January 2020. And it states that you are an employee, not a freelancer or an independent contractor, if A, the person is free from the control of direction of the hiring entity, B, the person performs works outside the usual entity's business, and C, the person is customarily engaged in an independently established trade occupation. And then there are also a number of other caveats that can make you exempt if you or your hiring entity wish to do that tax. So that very briefly, and what's going on with that is about a month and a half later, almost 2 months, California Assemblyman Kevin Kiley asked the California Assembly to suspend AB5 while corrective legislation was under consideration. His request was denied. Surprise. April 9th, Governor Gavin Newsom stated there was no chance he would ever suspend, even temporarily, AB5 back in April 9th. April 24th, 2020, the music industry came to an agreement with California lawmakers to provide relief from AB5 for music workers, as they will only need to meet the less burdensome Borrello test to be considered independent contractors. Now, you want to look up the Borrello test for an explanation. And while that's music to their ears, it is not to ours. It's still a little niche carved out of AB5. May 14th, 2020, State Senators John Morlock and Shannon Grove posted ideas to suspend and or repeal AB5. So they were coming at it again in May to try to get it repealed. Their motions were rejected by the Senate Labor, Public Employment, and Retirement Committee. So they got turned down. No work for you. Not going to happen. We go to August 20th, little reprieve. The judge granted a temporary stay on the AB5 order for Uber and Lyft that was to reclassify their drivers as employees. That stay, I believe, is a 10-day stay. Should start taking that up here at the end of the month. And then just Monday, August 24th, just a couple days ago, Assemblyman Kiley again presented an amendment to repeal 5 and gave each one in the assembly a list of 10,000 or more names of California citizens against AB 5, and he gave it to the bill's author, Representative Lorena Gonzalez. Shockingly, the amendment was voted down, and Gonzalez reportedly threw the list onto the floor. So AB 5 is just not going away, folks. Try as they may. The fight continues. November 3rd, there's Prop 22 on the ballot, and it's if approved, it would essentially exempt, allow app-based drivers and services to be independent contractors, exempting them from AB 5. But that's just for app-based drivers and services, not our industry. Again, another niche carved out. So if you're interested in following along on this, please go to the Facebook group, Freelancers Against AB 5. There's a lot of information on there that pops up, then people who are voting for this and people who are voting against it. To make your voice heard, people are trying, but it's just not happening on AB 5. That's kind of where we are as of today. And now we go to our COVID-19 update desk. All right. Last news, I let you guys know about a Safe Sets International, the certificate that you can get. It's a free certificate. You go on and you get this neat little certificate. Gives you some good ideas about COVID safety on a set. Okay, well, there's another one that's been going around that's much more detailed. It's Health Education Services. It's their become a COVID-19 compliance officer. Okay, I took this on the 11th. I believe Robin did as well, and there are a number of other folks who have. Kevin Murphy locally. There's about, we'll see. There's a number of people in San Diego who are listed. I'll tell you a little bit about that. It is costs about $50, and it's done as a webinar. Takes about an hour and a half, and then you have a quiz, 25 question quiz at the end. Got to pass 80% to get it. Participants receive a course completion certificate, testing to that the content was provided. Receive a link to valuable resources, including screening surveys, on-set posters, and more, which is pretty cool. If you get the set, the resources are really, really neat. It's very helpful to have those resources instead of going to look for them. And you're given the opportunity to list your name on a database of people who have completed this class, and the lists are hosted on their website. There are 28 right now listed from San Diego. Not a lot, but there's some. There's a chunk of them are IATSE and union members. But there are most who are not. So you can get yourself listed on that, and you are now certified to at least be a COVID-19 compliance officer, according to this. Take a picture of this website if you wish. This is where it is. You can go to this, look it up, healtheducationservices.net. You can dig around on the training, then you'll find what you need on that site. So what the heck is going on here? Giant prehistoric hamsters attacking poor little T-Rexes? No. We're trying to find out what these two have in common, and I will give you a hint. It has nothing to do with the presidential election. Nothing at all. So what's happening here? Well, what's going on is we are the guinea pigs. Hollywood restarts its blockbuster machine with Jurassic World Dominion. Kind of the first guys out of the gate in a way. There's numbers that have been going on. I'm not saying there aren't productions going on, but this is a big blockbuster that's happening. And with shooting bogged down in California because of the surging COVID cases at the time, slow test results, and plotting union negotiations, these big movies are moving overseas. This one moved to England. Before agreeing to make the movie, the cast grilled the producers about the safety protocols in place, and a practice that's not really done before in the pre-COVID era. Meaning typically your actors show up on a set, they know their lines, they go to the trailer, get their makeup, they do their thing, and they're done. And then they move on or they stay or whatever. They're never really involved in safety protocols and where things are or whatever, but much, much different in the COVID era. The production's following a 107-page safety manual. One general practitioner works with the production full-time, along with 4 nurses in temperature-taking stations at the set's entrance, and meals are vacuum-sealed and takeout-only cafeteria. Production's divided into 2 categories. This follows along with that idea of the zones. The larger one is made up of departments that don't need access, like construction and props during the filming. And the more exclusive category called the green zone includes the director cast and only the essential crew like camera ops and the sound department. So it's divided into two zones or two categories for these guys. Those working inside the green zone receive COVID tests 3 times a week, and the sets are fogged with an antiviral mist before each use. The chairs that the actors sit in between takes are surrounded by orange cones to remind people to remain socially distant. So cues and cues all over the place. And each time someone leaves or enters the green zone, he or she must wash their hands. So this is kind of what's happening. These are the things that the big blockbusters are doing, and they're trickling down to good practices for us in our productions that we do from 1 person to 5 or moving up. And they're taking the guidelines and modifying them as they need it and moving forward on them. And finally, anybody know who this guy is? Anybody out there? You may not recognize him because he's all combed his hair and dressed up, but this is Glenn Weiss, and Glenn Weiss has been making the rounds lately. Why? Well, he's won 14 Emmys, 6 DGA awards as a director and producer for various award shows, reality shows, Tonys, Kennedy Center Honors, Academy Awards. He's done it. You might better recognize him as this guy. This is Glenn Weiss, who directed the Democratic National Convention from his home in Brentwood, California. He worked with 58 cameras from around the world and did so with an experienced bravura and also with no shoes. So that, folks, is what we're all looking to do, is to work from home without shoes. We're there now, I think. I think we're getting there. It can be done. He looks so comfortable. And I think that's what everybody wants to work for. We just got to talk to Greg, and maybe we'll get him on one of our shows here. I think he'd be the next guy to speak. And that is news you can use for August 26th, 2020.
Mark, I love that idea of having him on as a guest. We will have to see if that's a possibility. I've noticed that people of that level of production experience seem to be interested in doing Zoom calls right now. So let's see what we can do.
That's true. That's true.
I love that idea. Make a special meeting or get that scheduled for the fall. Mark, thank you so much. Fabulous as always with all of the updates, even though the news on AB5 is just not good. But off we go anyway. Well, and it's almost 6 o'clock, so I think I'm just going to kick off this evening's meeting and say good evening and hello to everyone, and thank you for joining us for tonight's SDMediaPros meeting. This is our August meeting, and typically our August meeting is our summer social, and of course that's not happening this time. So we are going to do a socially distanced, summer-oriented meeting, and we are going to talk about baseball. And we're going to talk about baseball with Niall Nelson Hopkins and Brendan Nieto of the San Diego Padres, the Creative Services Department. We are going to get a deep dive into their Emmy-winning promo called Brown is Back. Brown is Back, yes, that's correct. And they are going to give us all the details. How did they come up with the idea for this promo? How did they storyboard it, plan for graphics, do test shoots, all of the steps from beginning to end. And of course, we'll get to see the spot as well. So I think it's going to be a fabulous meeting, and I love that it has a summertime theme. So we're going to get to that shortly. I just have a couple of announcements. Please be sure that your microphone is muted during the meeting, just so we don't have any background noise unnecessary. And please put your questions into the chat. And Robin and Jeff are going to be keeping an eye on that, and then we will ask those at the end of the meeting. So if you do have questions for Niall or Brendan, be sure to just add those to the chat window. And what we'd love to do is bring you up on camera and have you ask your questions so we can kind of engage and do a conversation. So let's plan for that. But before we get to that, I want to do just a very quick recognition to our board of directors. These are the people who work so hard to keep this organization running. I'm the president of the organization. Robin Martin is the vice president. Bob Unger is the CFO, Christine Gatlin is the secretary. And then we also have Jeff Trober, David Rains, Mark Masonov, Tom Kinnaman, who's our past president, Keith Methvin, Rich Varvel, and Kevin Marty, who is our membership chair. And just in case you missed an announcement that we made about membership about 2 months ago, Kevin, can you just give us a quick update on what we're doing with SDMediaPros membership fees?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Glad you can join us this evening. I just want to remind everybody that beginning this summer, we have reduced our dues from $80 a year to $50 a year, and this will go until June 30th of 2021. So we wanted to make sure that everybody knows this, and we really value your membership, and we wanted to make sure that everybody can stay a member, and we hope you keep supporting us, and we'd love to have you. And please, if you have any great ideas for topics, we'd love to hear them. And again, the dues are $50 until June 30th of 2021. So thanks, everyone, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Kevin. Jeff Truber, you are here somewhere.
Yes,
Jeff
I'm here.
is our webmaster. Hello.
Hello.
And you have just a quick update for us on some things that we're doing in terms of our website.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we are doing a refresh on the website, so it'll be new and improved and clean. No major changes as far as moving things around, but we'll just put a nice, clean, fresh look to it. And we are continuing to add to the resources page and also a special COVID-19 page. So we will keep those updated for you as well. And we will also have links to Mark's materials from News You Can Use. So we're keeping the website fresh and up to date. And as I said, take a look in the next few weeks for a new look to the website. So we look forward to having that for you.
You'll know it's new because it will have a whole new color palette that sort of more ties into the logo we've been using recently. Right. We're excited about this. It's going to be nice to have a new look, but keep a lot of the information that you find so important. And we are always adding new details to the resources page. So do check that out, especially Mark's News You Can Use information. And then I'm thinking we should start to add the links that are in the president's message, because there's some interesting tidbits that end up there. And I don't know if everybody has a chance to look at the newsletter. So anyway,
on the resources page for you.
On the resources page. Yes, exactly. So now let's move on. Let's get into the fabulous content of tonight's meeting. I'm going to turn it over to Mark Masonov. As a member of the board of directors, one of each of our responsibilities is to help plan the meetings. And Mark came up with this idea and coordinated the details with Niall and Brendan. So Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you for some introductions and we'll take it away.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I had a chance to see these two gentlemen present for a Premiere Pro meetings group as a Premiere Pro and Final Cut meeting. And I tell you, man, you think you do your great work at your place, and you do, but you see what these guys do, and it's just, you scratch your head and you wonder what you've done with your life. So we want to begin just a quick intro to get to these guys. Brendan Nieto's journey began at Hollandale High in Florida, where all good stories begin, and where the school had a renowned TV magnet program. From there, he became a news editor and later creative services producer for NBC6 in Miami, earning multiple Emmys before working for the Miami Dolphins as senior manager for production and programming, where he picked up 3 more Emmys. A 2-year gig at Van Wagner Big Screen Network Productions in North Carolina was followed by a return stint as the senior producer of marketing for the Dolphins, where he received another Emmy. In 2017, he went west, becoming the creative director for the San Diego Padres, earning 2 more Emmys for his work. And needless to say, he understands what excellence looks like and how to achieve it. Niall Nelson Hopkins grew up obsessed with making high 8 videos. In my day, it was Super 8, but what are you going to do? That passion drove him to study directing and editing at college in Minnesota. After graduating in 2014, he became a full-time video producer for the Jacksonville Jaguars, leveraging his growing skill set to show off his work on what were then the largest 8K LED displays in the world. You can now put that in your office, but what are you going to do? A year later, the Padres came calling, and he was hired as producer of editing and post-production, where he produces content for in-game video boards, social media, broadcast TV, commercial campaigns, and a host of other public-facing media. In his 5 years with the Padres, he's won 5 Emmys for animation and editing, and if that work isn't enough, he also does freelance animation for other sports teams and agencies through his company called Hey Fans Creative. That's heyfans.tv. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the team who SDG&E just hired to make their new commercial, Brownouts Are Back, Brendan Nieto and Niall Nelson Hopkins.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you.
So we wanted to start off by showing the spot, and then we'll dive into a little bit more on how we got to it and all that.
All right,
Niall,
so I'll do a screen share here. Let's see here. Share computer sound. All right. Let's get to the final here. All right.
Something magical is going on tonight at Petco Park. Machado digs in. And the pitch. Here.
Brown is back.
All right.
There it is. So we knew we were getting new uniforms, and we knew we were getting these new colors, and we knew we had to make a great intro video to accompany this. So at the time, Niall and I, we were roommates, and we lived downtown, and we'd come home from work and we'd constantly just have some beers and start talking creative. And one night we were listening to Led Zeppelin. Which song? It's a Led Zeppelin song. And I started getting this crazy idea.
We'll hear it.
Huh?
I don't remember the title of it, but we'll hear it when we play that other thing.
It'll come to me. So as I heard the song, I was like, hey, I got this crazy idea for the spot. I started explaining it to him, and he goes, oh, that was really good. So my idea basically got up to the part where Manny hit the ball, and then I really didn't know what else we were doing.
But you talked about
Niall,
this idea. You talked about this idea. You have to mention this, that you had this for like 3 years, and you're like, we have to do something where the slow motion ball is flying. Like, I heard him talk about this idea for like 2 or 3 years, and we never knew what you were going to use it for, but you always kept it in the back of your head, like, we're going to use this for something.
I had just this one shot of the camera, the ball being here, and the camera just going back right behind the ball, going towards the player, that was in my head for this. We got to that point.
Sorry, we're on quite the lag, aren't we? Do you want me to show the fastball clip?
So I think I got this idea from this. This is a documentary from, it's called Fastball. I don't remember. I just recently saw this again a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that looks like it.
McCutcheon.
So this was obviously probably shot in studio. You can see the camera goes around the ball. Sorry, it's coming. There it is. That's the shot that was in my head. So we got to the part where he hits. When he hit the ball, I wanted the player to go into, I don't know if anybody here watches Dragon Ball Z. But when what's his name? When he goes crazy and he goes nuts. I wanted like wind to hit the player, and I wanted like I wanted our old jersey to rip off a little bit. And we sat there and we tried to do it the best we could. We tried even a special jersey that had half old jersey, half new jersey that we could spin around and do, and it just wasn't coming together that way. So that was the first roadblock with things. And this is way in pre-production. Do you want to show the storyboard?
Yeah, well, let's
Or do you have anything?
show the other pitch. I guess I would add too that you also outsourced, who were you talking with, Kristen, about actually she did a mock-up of like the jersey tearing animation, and it just kind of wasn't getting to a place where we're like 100% like we have to do this. So we didn't know, so we kind of were still searching for ideas. Oh yeah, Ryan likes the DBZ shout out. Sorry, I'm reading the chat at the same time. Let's show the other pitch that we did too. So like while you had this idea and we're kind of incubating it, you also had put the word out to the whole department, and we're like, if anyone has cool ideas, like let's see what you got. So I cut together this pitch video. Let's see, am I still sharing? No, I'm not. Where is it? Oh yeah, that's it. So this was kind of like a style vibe video using a song from APM. So we knew we could use this song. So it was more about setting a visual tone in terms of graphics and shots we might get with the players. So, and I don't know, maybe you could talk about how, at one point the two ideas ended up kind of conjoining, right?
They started merging because I knew I had the spot until Manny says Brown is back, and then I didn't know where we were going. That's when I told the department, hey, let's come up with some ideas. I think you and Tom came back with something, and we decided to go your way. One of the things I'm proud of this team, a lot of sports teams in general, they would just pay a company to do this, and it would just be done, and the sports teams would get all the credit. With this spot, it was entirely done in-house. The only thing we didn't do is set up lighting. That we had to go out of house for. So we shot this spot, we edited, we composited, we did the sound design. So it's really special. We have a really special team to be able to do this all in-house. There was one team, I won't mention the name. They ran a what's it called? What was the HBO show that everybody liked? Game of Thrones. They ran a Game of Thrones open. Everybody was like, "Oh, that looks so great." They're like, "Yeah, we went to the Game of Thrones people and they made it for us." So there's teams that just like tons of money at for production, but we were very proud that we're able to keep this in house.
Yeah.
So once we had these two ideas,
too, like, sorry, I'm going. Okay. Oh, I was just gonna say that, like, for us, this was like a jewel project of the year. We only get one or two bigger projects like this where we really get to get super creative and like dive into it like this, where the team, has a ton of needs, right? So this was a project we were definitely all really proud to, get as deeply involved as we could.
So once we got the two ideas together, then we started working on storyboarding that front end. And I sat down with one of my other producers, Tom. He's a very gifted animator. And me and him sat there and I go, I want the camera to look like this. I want it to do this. And this is what we came up with. This might have the Led Zeppelin song I was talking about.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we have the park in the park shot too. We can show that after. I'm just gonna mute it so
We'll hear the Led Zeppelin song.
Okay, sorry. I'll go back. Someone just mentioned something about not using copyrighted music on this stream.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know how much.
Fair use, we're talking about.
There we go.
So I just like. All right, you can turn it off. You can kill the music. That's a song. And yeah, I wanted, when he hits, I wanted him to start shaking and see all the what's it called? The jersey start flying off, and then he looks down, he's in his new thing. But it just wasn't feasible, so we had to come up with other ideas, which we did still in post-production. The other way we prepared for this is we took an iPhone, went straight out to Park at the Park, where we have a little wiffle ball, and we started just shooting mock frames.
Rolling.
Keep going. Go. Go, 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 go.
What a swing. But
So
I
we started-
remember we had to do that at some point because there was confusion, based on different descriptions. We're like, how is it, how is the camera going to move? How are we going to see this? So it was cool to just get out there on that little mini field and like just do it.
And we've done that a lot with iPhones. Like we've mocked out a couple Christmas spots that way, that we just took. That's the way we made our storyboards. We went out to the set where we were shooting and shot all the frames we wanted. We came back and we shot it. So once we got the idea down, we knew what we were going to do. It was time to figure out the logistics of everything. So we had to figure out, nobody's seen these uniforms. We had to either figure out a way to sneak the players around, where in the building is big enough that could house a set and lighting and still be secret. And we also needed to only have about 10 to 15 minutes with each guy. So we didn't have a lot of time with them. And with this, we had to do a full still shoot. So we had still creative for any marketing we were doing then, and our video shoot. So our first idea was maybe we should get a ballroom at the Omni across the street and black that out. We'd have a huge sound stage. That didn't work. So now we had to think of another way. So in the building, we have something called an auditorium. The roof isn't high enough. It's okay, but it was a big room and we were able to black it out, shut it down, have total control of who comes in and out of it. So that's where we started setting up there. Like I said, the only thing we went out of house for was the lighting. And for the lighting, I went to my friend Kristen. She was from the Miami Heat and she started her own company. And I wanted lighting that people other teams haven't seen yet, because everybody's done lighting. They've used the tubes. I forget what those are called. That hang.
The quasar.
The quasars.
Tubes.
People have used that. So I wanted a better type of lighting, and they came back with basically concert lighting that to me looked really, really good.
And these things could rotate, and like they couldn't rotate 360 obviously, but it was like 270 degrees of rotation to
what was funny too,
wasn't it?
The color temperature of the lights was really, really weird. Even though the camera was seeing really gold, they were actually a little, we had to set it, they were actually a little green. So we sat there, we shot it on a red. I forget, did we have 2 reds, Niall, or just one?
I think we had just one, because we were moving it from the movie onto sticks, I believe. Or did we have 2 and it was one was on the movie, one was on the sticks?
I know we had that in the tent. I forget what we had in there. I know we at least had 1 red, and
it was a red Gemini.
Was it a Gemini? And that's what we did. We sat there and just had, the only player that really needed to do anything kind of like acting was Manny. So he took a little more time because we had to get those shots, and he had to go do a quick change to the new uniform.
What else happened? How do you want to talk about? We did a trade of some players that were to be featured in the video, and then we had to take, it was Urias and one other player out, or at least Urias, because he was traded.
That and our shoot date happened to be when the organization got rid of our manager. So then everybody was kind of down. So it was a very big struggle. Then our main player, Tatis, he was hurt or something, wasn't he? And he was still rehabbing.
He was hurt, or he was, he was busy training, I think.
I forget. So then we had to just shoot him over green.
Yeah.
We had to shoot him over green later, and Niall made it look, composited it really great, that it looked like he was there.
I have some stills here of his. He's only in it super quick, but we tried to go out of the way and make sure he was shown, like right after Manny swings and hits the ball, Tatis is like the first player we show to kind of set the tempo, so nobody would think anything different about us having a green screen him in. Sorry, my video is frozen, so I can't tell if I'm like coming through or not. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, you guys are doing good. We've got a bunch of questions in the chat. You guys have been kind of really ticking off quite a bit of them. Would you guys speak to a little bit of kind of like the overall timeline kind of up to this point? Because I know we're at the filming stage, the shoot days here. But like pitch to, pre-production and storyboarding to the actual shoot, and then how long in post before you guys got the finished piece out there?
I want to say the idea, like Niall said, I've been talking about this shot for years, and I was like, oh, we got to use it. We got to use it for something. So I tend to have a whole bunch of just ideas. I just pocket and pull them out as needed, or pull out an old idea and give it a little twist. So I think by April, maybe we started with the first set of storyboarding. And then by like June, that's when we went out to the park and did it.
Yeah, it was sometime in the middle of the season where we really ramped up on it. And then, we knew that we had a fall date. It was like going to be October, November for a while. And then it ended up being in November, right?
Yeah. We were running out of time to shoot with the guys because they're still on the road. So you can only shoot with them when they're here. So we had to figure that out. That was a big thing. And I think we might have shot at the last homestand, right?
Yeah, it was getting down like 1 or 2 homestands.
So
left.
like end of September, that's when we shot. Then we had October to put that together, but also keep working on all the other stuff that for ticketing and commercials and everything else that goes along with working for a team. We had to balance the 2 projects, and this was just a huge project, probably the biggest project that the team's taken on. Any other questions?
Yeah, David, are you ready to jump in with some?
Yeah. We had a question from, let's see if Paul Belfive, you still with us? You had a question at the top about length of time to produce.
Yes, I had a question. Sorry to unmute myself. Yeah, from filming to getting the final cut in post, like, you know, tell me start, you know, when you first started filming to, you know, the final cut ready to go. How long in weeks, months was that time period?
I mean, probably Brennan was, I mean, if we shot in, when did we shoot? July?
And no, we shot at end of September during a Dodger homestand.
Okay. So that would make it what, 3 months? Which is a long, we never make anything
well from
in 3 months. We never get that much time.
He's saying from shooting, you're saying from shooting the players to turning around the final product?
Sure, like in essence, you know, take out all the pre-stuff and, you know, just cut to, okay, we know our shot list. So when you started filming to, you know, the end, I guess, just kind of that time period. So it sounds like end of September to, is that?
Yeah, I'm gonna say about 3 weeks to a month.
And we shot 2 days, right? Was it 2 or 3 days?
We shot like 2 days the first time, and then we had the Tatis pickup shot.
That's right. How many days was the setup with that big set with the lights? I don't even remember, like 2 or 3.
No, we came in. It was there for 2.5 days. They came in, set up, started testing. And then what was great is we liked the lights so much, we decided to go back to the company and say, hey, we liked your setup. How can we up it? And that basically became our spring training look. And we, took the exact same lights. So it's really good. You could really take footage from either production and use it in a commercial, use it anywhere.
Yeah, and this was the first time we had at least for spring training, we had an open setup where we could also take some cool photos, because traditionally we'd shoot our open videos in front of green screen and just use some of that footage for the open video. But this time we had Andy shooting some really sick stills. I wish I had some pulled up. Do you want me to play the open video, or should we play that at the end? Because we're still in the middle of this other.
You guys want to see the open video to see how it kind of ties in?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, let's do it.
Probably don't put music on this one because this one's not APM.
Well, this one's APM. It's not?
Oh, you have the APM one?
No, I have the original one.
The original one was an APM.
Okay. But you'll see, like we added the arrows for this shoot.
Yeah.
This is in Arizona in the parking lot at our complex in Peoria. So this is also the footage that's shown on a lot of the Fox sports broadcasts. They has a lot of like dual purpose use for this, and we cut a lot of this stuff into music videos and the closer video, right?
Is it playing?
Yeah. Can you see it?
I don't see it. I don't see it. I see you.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, okay. Good. I was like, everyone's staring at my face
Yeah, I did.
for a minute. Okay. But yeah. Oh yeah. One thing I guess I wanted to bring up too, because you brought up the color of the lights, is, you know, we were sensitive to how the jerseys would look in this video because, you know, this was the first time everyone was going to be seeing them. So it was definitely important to get the lights tuned in and to be like testing the footage on set and applying LUTs or whatever color correction we would be doing in Premiere to see like, okay, are we cool with how the players are going to look in this? So I remember there was a lot of tinkering with that as well. Oh, you know what we could show, Brennan?
What?
I could show this test. I have another rough cut of the Brown is Back video with the Tom shot on the set.
Oh, the ball that didn't work?
Yeah. So this was kind of a rough cut when we, like, the first day of setting up the lights.
You can even see the, what's it called? The screen hasn't even been changed yet. That's how rough this cut is.
Using this old Solarte aerial footage. And then it's just blank the rest of the way. But that's kind of a look at what the set looked like. And this was what the set looked like without fog in it, right?
Yeah. And this was, if you saw the space this was in, you'd go, wow.
But I think in testing this and getting rid of this whole long move, we didn't love this whole
it just took too long
sequence there. It took too long. Yeah. And we just kind of need to get into it. So actually, yeah, that's another thing I forgot that we did with the final is we used old green screen footage of Manny because he starts out in the white uniform. He starts out in this white uniform. And then, so we cut to this, and this is like old green screen footage of him from when we signed him in 2018. And is this as well? Yeah, this is too.
No, that we shot.
Are you sure? Oh yeah,
yeah.
You're right.
He did a quick change. He started in his whites.
This one is old because we needed a close-up
of
him. So I'm pretty sure this one is old. You're right.
And then Tom was able to do all that in post, the adding the pinstripes to the uniform.
Yeah, so he took this still of Manny in the shot and like painted the jersey on the best he could, which looks pretty cool. And then the ball is 3D using Cinema 4D, and it's an Octane render. And then I believe this glitchy kind of modulation that's happening is like an After Effects effect.
That's isn't that Universe?
Yeah, Universe or
multi-layer or whatever.
One of those things.
All right. Should we just answer questions now? What do you guys want?
Yeah,
to do?
how long have we talked for? 35 minutes.
I know, Rob, you had a follow-up question, I believe, about the cams. Oh no! Oh, I haven't gotten it. Oh no, it was Paul I asked for. Sorry, Rob. Rob, now for you with us. Sorry about that. I got a little ahead of myself.
Yeah, all good. Sorry, I got a motorcycle going over here, but I was actually just kind of a new question I was writing down was I'm curious how you guys organize. I mean, a mass amount of footage that you can dig through to put on, a project like that. Like you mentioned, that close up of Manny. Is it a giant server that everyone has access to in the cloud, or just kind of interested on the organizational aspects, especially with like graphics, and every season is a little bit different. So Just yeah, curious on the organization of that.
We have a huge server. It's over 200 terabytes. I'll say it's like 240 terabytes. It's a Cumulo, and we all work off there, and we just keep everything very organized. Every single year goes 2020. Inside 2020 is 2020 footage. Inside 2020 footage, 2020 spring training, 2020 community, in-game. So everything is just really, really organized. And once you're there and you know the lay of the server, then you're doing pretty good.
You guys literally uploading the stuff, or intern or someone kind of putting all that up there?
We have no interns. The crew is very small. The crew is myself, who leads the department with stills and video, and then I have Kevin, who is the manager of production, and I have 2 producers under him, Niall and Tom. And then we just recently got Christian Vaca added to the team, and we have Daniel Canepa, who is kind of like a part-timer.
And we have a traveling video guy who
Randy, yeah,
can help
Randy.
us. Yeah, Randy.
And are you guys kind of like, a lot of us are freelancing and kind of have our own small businesses here in San Diego. Is it similar where you're kind of wearing a lot of hats? So like Brendan, you're creative directing, coming up with the idea, but are you literally directing on set, or is there a team brought in for that? Are you guys probably wearing a lot of hats for a lot of different roles?
Everybody on the team does everything. I've laughed because like sometimes I'm cutting the voice recordings for when you call the Padres. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. Yesterday I cut a radio spot. So yeah, you're all over the place when it comes to production.
Awesome. And last question, now that I guess since I'm on here, ever since video content has just gone super short and shorter and shorter throughout the years, for what you guys do, this is like some action-packed content that has to go up on the Jumbotron and all that. I'm curious what your process is for putting stuff aside that you think could work as like a little 6-second piece, or are these deliverables that you guys already know you need, like just on that really short form content and repurposing?
No.
Repurposing. I mean, when it applies to bigger projects like this, so I mean, I would definitely say like these shoots. All the footage from these shoots are fair game to use in, like in-game music videos. We use it in commercials for ticket sales. We use it on social media. So like any footage that we capture, we know it can be helpful for our department or the social media department, and everyone has access to that stuff. I think we got into this a lot more the past couple of years with like our in-game content, because we realized that, the headshots and the prompts we were making for in-game were also going to be useful on social media. Like when there's like the big home run bell prompt in stadium on the video board, we should also be tweeting that same thing. So there's kind of a, that connection there. So we started making no, it's not the same file. So like the control room will play a DVC Pro file, because that's what that system needs, and then we'll get social and MP4 or a GIF file.
Got it.
But yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I'm just curious if you guys kind of, obviously you reuse a lot of stuff throughout the season probably. I was just curious if you had the luxury of knowing that beforehand.
I mean, we can so I've been with the team 5 years, and it took me a couple of years to get into it, but you realize like there's the same needs every year. Like there's always headshots. There's always, there's always a game ball delivery. There's a script for every game, and every game is going to have the same needs, and there's sponsor needs throughout the whole mess of it. So like once you get into it, you can know there's a formula and then understand areas where maybe you could get more creative. But it's kind of like, once you understand the content that's required in a season, it allows you to like be more efficient in the way you're working and organize projects. Like, oh, this one thing can actually serve like 4 needs. and eliminate like 4 problems for me. And then I have more time to do, work on the Brown is back video or something like that. So there's lots of, I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
Think about
the other thing that helps is we have really great ownership. Our ownership really takes to our ideas and gives us what we need to make sure that they shine. So big shout out to them.
That's awesome. Yeah, loving the work, guys. I mean, obviously it's an exciting season, even in strange times, and lots of cool stuff coming out. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
All right, sorry. Excuse me. Lost my notes here. Andrew Rowley had a question about your software, about your post-production software. Andrew, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I just kind of, you already mentioned a couple programs that you use for your post-production, but just, kind of curious of your workflow and, where you do the majority of your editing and like After Effects, if you need After Effects or Cinema Pro or anything like that. Like, what do you use for a lot of heavy effects stuff?
So I can talk about that, Brennan. So we use Premiere and we use After Effects. So we use, all the Adobe stuff. And then, I personally, so like as a producer of editing and post-production, I'm always on a constant pipeline of like Premiere with a rough cut and then working on animations in After Effects. Then, maybe sending specific shots or work on specific animations in Cinema 4D. And then rendering those things back to After Effects and then working with those shots in Premiere. And so like if someone asks me like what software I use, it's just like it's just always a combination of those 3 in any way. And I know Brendan is probably always going between Premiere and After Effects, and we all use tons of different plugins and things like that.
I feel with the team, everybody can do everything, but everybody has a superpower. So Tom, he's really good at drawing. And he's really good at coming up with great ideas. Niall, he's really good at his 3D and making sure that his 3D is good. Kevin, he's really good at shooting. Me, I'm there.
Do you guys use like any sort of like any packages, like graphics packages or any sort of effects packages that's kind of like a general MLB, something that's available to you, or is everything pretty much custom that you guys build yourself?
No, MLB is not really helpful like that. I don't think. No, Brendan would you've probably asked the MLB for certain things like that. Like, oh, it'd be great if there was assets for all of the team, but
we subscribe to Digital Juice, like all those little, stock video companies. Plugins that we use are the Gen Arts, Sapphire, the Boris Effects, Continuum, and Universe. And one thing that I don't know if everybody knows, a lot of people don't use, has anybody here heard of Mr. Horse or use that?
Animation Composer? Yeah. I know, you have to look in the chat if you're saying yes, I guess.
I'm shaking my head. I've never heard of
it. If you haven't gotten that, I would download that. It's a really good set of plugins.
Isn't there there's like a free initial plugin you can just download?
Yeah, they'll give you a couple for free. Then you gotta buy the rest.
What was that called again?
Mr.
Horse Animation Composer.
But it's basically like really simple After Effects, or I think there's a Premiere version now, After Effects for like text to fly in. So it kind of, instead of working with keyframes, you kind of just slap a plugin down on it and it just does it automatically. So I don't know, it's a big time saver, sure.
Cool, that's great. That's good to know. Thank you guys.
Oh, Rob's got it. He just sent the link.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Bob Unger, are you still with us? Is Bob there? Bob with us, or did Bob move on?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, you have your question? You want to ask your question?
Right. After we do anything, we tend to look back and say, if I'd only known that now or known then what I know now, I would do this differently. What would you have done differently, knowing what you know now about how the whole project went?
That's a good one. What would I do different? Get it done earlier? Shoot it earlier so we have more time.
So you didn't go down any blind alleys and shoot some stuff that turned out to be not a disaster, and you can never reuse it, or you'd have to strike your set and start over.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. I mean, it went. You know, I would have done differently. I wish I would have had more like just grips to help with all this stuff, because we were all like also gripping. Once those lights were down, we were packing them, rushing them, you know, out the door. So yeah, maybe I'd do that differently. Get more grips.
Sounds like pre-production really paid off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob. Marianne, are you still there? You want to ask your question? You had a question about lighting?
Well, I had a question about lighting, but I don't really care anymore because the whole spot's over, so no one's gonna really know what I'm talking about. But I have another question. Are these the same people who do the live camera work?
You mean like the people that shoot
At the games? Yes.
So we have the internal creative crew is one crew, and there's a control room there, and they have a whole other staff of people.
Okay, then I'll go with my lighting question. Did you guys have any input on the lighting, or did the lighting person say, no, let's do this, this will work best?
So when they set up the lights, it comes with this lighting engineer. His name's Andrew. This kid is out of control, and he starts doing crazy things with the lights. I'm like, oh, that's cool. What if it did this? And he starts tweaking it out, and we're like, oh yeah, that's really, really good. Hey, Andrew, I want the lights to go open up like this. That kid is right on there. So yeah, I mean, some of it is us, some of it is them, and we just even like while we're shooting, he's sitting there tweaking things.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Marianne. Whoops. What do I have next? Dave S. Are you there?
Right here, yeah.
There you are. Yeah. You excuse me. You had a question about game footage.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out the difference between. It sounds like you guys are doing the higher end creative stuff, and there's a different team doing things nightly during the games. I was curious if, number one, if I understand that right, but if you were doing the live stuff, what kind of how you get your footage so quickly and get things turned so quickly on site? The music videos is how you put it, I think.
So we cut all of like any pre-produced music video, open video, in-game feature. We have to produce all of that stuff like during the daytime. Now, if it's something like a live replay, then that's someone in the control room on the replay machine, you know, running that back. But if it's anything pre-produced, then that comes from our department.
Got it.
So everything is, we run a Dreamcatcher replay system, and as they're going, they're queuing in and out, and they're sending it to our server, and they come down all different angles as MP4s, and we'll get them in real time. So like if we're having a good game, there's been games where Niall has taken video from the beginning of the game and had it in a music video by the 6th or 7th inning. That's how quick we've turned around things.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And one last question from Drake. Jake Drake. Jake Drake, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
First off, that turnaround time is nuts. But yeah, my question was, so with everything changing with work from home, and it seems like a lot of people are working on the same project simultaneously, and it's being handed off in various forms. So how has work from home changed how you, how the workflow is with each project?
It really hasn't changed. we are using we're using HP computers at the office, Z800s, I think. And one of the reasons why I went with them is because they had this RGS feature. And RGS is just, I don't know if anybody's seen it, it is just like a screen share on steroids. So you just need a simple laptop or a simple computer, get on the company's VPN, and everybody's attached to the computer that's at their desk. So we have access to the control room, our whole server. So it's really done nothing, but we have some more FaceTime meetings now.
There you go. Yeah, RGS is pretty intense. I mean, especially like the transfer speeds behind everything. It's pretty cool. All right, thanks.
Lauren, you had a question. Lauren, I don't know if Lauren can hear me.
Hi, sorry. Having trouble with the getting things to turn on. Yeah, I guess I was just wondering if that lighting gaffer guy that they were talking about was Andrew, and I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, Jorgensen.
Do you know the name of his company?
You know what? I don't. It was a few years ago that I worked with him on a production, so I was just curious.
So we had two people. I'm pretty sure it was Andrew. He came out to do blacking out the room and, you know, like the subject lighting. And then we had Veteran Media Group and Kristen Torino's company, KT Design, come out and do the background light.
Oh, okay.
But I'm pretty
Hi,
sure Andrew did the main, you know, like blackout and all that stuff. The grip.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. I think that's it for Q&A. Robin, you want to take it over?
Catching me with my mouth full. Thank you, David.
That was my
Taking a bite of dinner in the middle of the meeting. I'm sparing you guys my camera for a moment.
That was delicious.
Yeah, Niall, Brendan, anything else that we haven't touched on yet in regards to this production?
I don't know. What do you think, Brandon?
Oh, well, to me, I thought this was some of the best work the Padres have done so far, and we're super proud that it was done in-house. And I couldn't have done it without the team that helps me, which Niall's a part of. So thank you to all those guys that really come through and make what we all see as a vision of the Padres and the branding come to life. Thank you.
I have a question.
I guess, yeah, go for it, Tom.
Yeah. So you finished that just recently, right? The beginning of this season, in essence, or this truncated
last November. Last November.
So you finished it last year in preparation for the announcement of the Going Brown.
We had a Going Brown thing in November. It was like another
Right.
opening day.
So now that you've had a taste of that, when are you going to get to do another nice big production like that? Anything you're looking forward to?
Well, I mean, I thought the open video that we shot this year was another big production for us. We also do a military open, which we didn't show. We do a first responder open. And we've done just, if you go to the Padres website, we have just done music video after music video of this cool post production. But as far normally now, those big productions like that will happen next spring training, and all the teams do it.
Right. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
the
like-
beginning of the season. You're introducing new players, et cetera. Yeah. To follow on the other question, Niall, it sounds like you guys are there during the games, and you're pulling clips to create these more interesting artistic interstitials, if you will. Is that what you said, Niall?
So how we do it is we used to all stay on call for the games, but then we realized that we didn't all have to be there that late at night. So we decided to have, one person from the department, we'd all take turns being on call, because, if a no-hitter happens, if an amazing game or something history making happens, someone could be there to pull the footage right away and cut something for social, for whatever it would may be. So we take turns working the games at night, and we're not always constantly pulling clips because that's part of the control room's
Right. That's what I
role is
thought.
to be
That's why I was
replaying those
interested
things.
when you said that you were
Yeah.
actually creating this quick music video.
Yeah,
So
I
that
mean, for like, sorry, but yeah, if it's like opening, so like opening day is a great example of that, where that's a really great time to pull footage from the very beginning of the game and show it in the 8th inning, because it's a, it's a sold out stadium. There's so much excitement going on. I think that's when we focus on, doing things like that. Whereas later on in the season, that may not be the focus unless something, insane has happened in the middle of the game.
What about some of the special events? I mean, now it's tough. You're going to have to think back to previous years. Somebody's retiring a shirt, or there's an award being given, a lineup of old pros coming in, that kind of a thing. Are you guys there are you shooting that stuff on the field? Kind of like, NFL has their whole team. All they do is do, interesting stuff, right? They don't do the game. Are you doing that kind of stuff also, or do you pull from stuff that's being done by other crew?
We do both. The last big thing like that was Trevor Hoffman being put in the Hall of Fame, and we did a complete production with them. Niall and Kevin and Randy, they went out, right? It was just you three.
So
you guys went out to New York. To go shoot that whole thing, cover the whole thing, produce content, and send it back. So we try to, we love NFL films and the way that storytelling is, and that's really what we strive to do.
Sure. I mean, they're amazing, So do you guys rent or a specific camera for a specific job? Or like when you did this Trevor Hoffman thing, do you have in-house gear? How do you manage that?
We have one red. We'll rent lenses based on whatever shoot we're doing. But I mean, we have one red. We will utilize, Niall introduced us to Everett, who still works at the Jacksonville Jaguars. He'll fly over for spring training with his red, and that'll be our B camera. So we pay him, freelance to come shoot for us, and we'll have a B camera on a Movi, and Kevin will have the main camera on his shoulders. And I mean, we have that, and those two Sony, I don't even know what they are, the better Sonys.
FS7.
Yeah, like an FS.
Yeah. Okay.
I like shooting on my iPhone.
Well, it's doggone it. My wife has been watching all these cooking shows, and it looks too darn good. They're obviously managing audio in a different way, but
if you go watch the Padres Halloween spot from last year, I shot the whole thing on an iPhone and put it together.
Was that the box thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I was curious, Brendan and Niall, if you have any sense yet from the Padres organization, how they're going to approach this kind of promotional and marketing type of pieces that you guys are doing going forward. Under pandemic restrictions and things like that. Obviously, they're going to be very highly protective of their athletes and you guys as employees as well. So, do you have any sense of kind of what that's going to look like for you guys going forward?
I mean, I think the organization, the league, is taking it day by day. I think the league's doing a great job of keeping it contained the best they can. There's all these levels, and I have some health. What's it called? I take some medication to reduce my immune system. So I'm not on the tiered level that can go into the building. So there's a level that, I mean, they're testing them weekly. They're making sure that things are safe right now. And like I said, I think we just got to take it and see what happens in the future. We're not sure yet.
Yeah. So like come spring training next year, if there's still, they need to
Who
kind of
knows?
preserve that bubble. What kind of productions are you guys thinking about throwing out there?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? We had some fun questions pop up in the chat. Rob was asking, what was your favorite show at the Casbah?
It was the one that me and Niall went to. Who was that?
Was it Alex Cameron?
Yeah, I like that one.
Alex Cameron. I've seen Electric Guest at the Casbah too. It was good.
Yeah, we're big
I
fans
missed
of
that.
Law, so notice your shirt, Brandon.
I got a
Kevin,
quick
Kevin
question.
produced that little documentary about it.
Oh, that's right. Our cinematographer then.
I got a quick
Yeah, I missed
question,
live
if that's
music.
okay.
Yeah, go for it, Andrew.
But for both Brendan and Neil, how do you guys latch on to a new team like the Padres? I know you guys been here for a few years, but you guys are from out of town, and I'm born and raised San Diego, and I'm definitely a diehard Padres fan, Friar Faithful for sure. How's it going from team to team in your careers, and then latching on to the San Diego Padres, and then really kind of owning this, and then and especially with a big uniform reveal and all that? How is it easy? Is it hard? Do you have a team back home that you're all diehard about? Like, how is it trying to latch on to the San Diego Padres?
I could tell you from my experience, the reason why I do decent in sports is because I'm not a big sports fan. What I like to hear is going out and seeing the video that we all put together and hearing all the fans start cheering for it. That's why I'm into it.
Yeah,
So-
I would say that each sports team, once you get into sports, you realize that each team has a ton of the same positions. They have a lot of the same needs. They have ticket campaigns, they have in-game needs, they are running commercials, they're all over social media. So lots of teams have the same needs. And so a lot of times in sports, when it's time for you to try to move up, unfortunately, you have to jump to another team to make that move, that vertical move. And I know that was my case. And I don't know if you were you were like a boss man at the Dolphins too, Brennan, but I know a lot of people do that, and just teams have so many of the same needs that it's very like, people go from team to team to, obviously be cool to work for your hometown, favorite squad. But personally, I was never into baseball before this, and now I know more about baseball than I ever cared to know. And it's like, so fun. So it's cool, I guess.
And
Awesome. No, it's
y'all,
great.
you become big fans really quick. Here, look, see my other, in case I wanted to go this one. This one on standby, just in
There you
case.
Nice. That's great, guys. No, I love all of the work you do, and I mean, you make the Padres look great. And like I said, I'm a Friar Faithful, so just make us look as badass as possible. We love it.
We shall try. Thank you.
Kind of speaking of that and kind of upping production values and things like that, since you guys are really like a full service team that does, you guys shoot, you guys edit, do anything, what's like the new technology that you guys are the most interested in that you think is going to help you kind of take that next step in terms of either workflow or production values or things like that on the camera side, editing side? What are you guys looking at?
I mean, the thing I've told Niall that I really want him to get into is this, using his Octane render to produce photorealistic renders of things. I said, if we could figure this out, we'll be able to take photos that people won't even understand how we did it. So that's the big thing I want to explore right now is photorealistic 3D renders.
Well, thank you so much, Brendan and Niall, for sharing this project with us and all the creativity and effort that went into it. Obviously, the accolades are very well deserved in terms of the Emmy, and we really appreciate your time to chat with our group. I want to thank everybody for attending and participating. I want to thank the board members for helping organize and put this on. If you have any ideas for topics, we are open to suggestions and recommendations. Obviously, we're somewhat constrained in that we can't get together in person these days, so we're trying to make the best of this virtual format. Thanks again, everyone, for attending today. We will see you next time virtually in some format or another. Stay cool out there and go Padres.